poor Kendall Jenner. She gets to be in this awesome Pepsi commercial where she gets to be a supermodel and then march in the streets against the man, whoever the man is, and she gets to drink a Pepsi and then give it to a cop, and she ends up getting mocked for it.
Okay, well, bye Chloe, I gotta go. I'm on the set of my Pepsi commercial. I stopped the police from shooting black people by handing them a Pepsi. I know, it's cute, right?
All the mean and nasty pundits said,
sort of tone deaf.
But from a rhetorical standpoint, the commercial wasn't so much tone deaf as indecorous. It violated the rules of decorum. Now, decorum is Latin for fitness or fitting in. It's not so much a matter of tea drinking politeness and following all the rules. That could follow the rules of decorum if you are drinking with elderly English ladies. But in most cases, decorum simply means fitting in with your environment in the same way that a species survives in its environment by fitting in appropriately. And that's where the commercial goes wrong. In my book, Thank You for Arguing, I quote the modern rhetorician and genius Kenneth Burke, who wrote in 1950 that decorum was the single most effective form of persuasion. Now, he'd said that while talking about the types of decorous skills, the skills of decorum you should have. He writes, "You persuade a man only insofar as you can talk his language by speech, gesture, tonality, order, image, attitude, idea, identifying your ways with his." Now, he did write that in 1950. Today, calling all of humanity as man would seem indecorous. Not back then. Basically, he's talking here about values, about what we most value and think is most important, what we most identify with. And here's where the Pepsi commercial with poor Kendall Jenner went wrong. The Pepsi generation Pepsi is going after today values more than anything else not having their values bought and sold by the corporate world. This is a generation all about authenticity, not money-making phoniness. She gives a policeman a Pepsi and everybody cheers essentially not Kendall Jenner, but the Pepsi. Now, this is a very different ad, and I think it's a little bit of a throwback, but in a wrong way, to the famous Mean Joe Green Coke commercial.
Mr. Green? Mr. Green?
Yeah.
You need any help?
Mm-mm.
I just want you to know, I think you're the best ever.
Yeah, sure.
Want my Coke? It's okay, you can have it.
Now, the difference between Mean Joe Green and Kendall Jenner here is that the Coke serves as an act of kindness. In the Pepsi commercial, Kendall Jenner is giving the Pepsi to a cop as if it's a form of protest in itself. It's not an act of kindness at all. It's like doing something to someone else and getting cheered for it. That you don't get more crassly commercial than that. And that's, I think, why the commercial was considered tone deaf and therefore mocked. If you want to practice ideal decorum, understand what your audience values the most, and then prove that you value them too. Now, this does not mean dressing like your audience or trying to behave like an audience. I'm 61 years old, and I talk to students all the time. I do not try to dress like them. I don't try to use their lingo. If I see one more old guy in a do-rag, I'm going to shoot him and put his children out of their misery. Meanwhile, thank you for arguing.
No, this isn't an argument.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. It's just contradiction.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It is not.